Hey everyone, Liam from Solitude here, and in this video I'm going to take you through some of Anthony Fantano's favourite Australian musicians and bands. So if you don't know who Anthony Fantano is, he is essentially one of the biggest and most influential music journalists slash personalities on the internet. He reviews albums mostly on his YouTube channel called The Needle Drop, and it's been around for roughly 10 to 15 years now. He's pretty much the biggest individual name when it comes to music reviews in the world, and his musical opinions, like it or not, actually have a lot of weight to them. So if he gives a good review for something, you can just about guarantee that a group of people will like it. But his musical tastes are quite niche, and he is known to be very harsh as well. He also does have a good sense of humor and leans into some of his idiosyncrasies, which is what I really like about him. He also does a lot of musical commentary on his second channel called Fantano that I personally find enjoyable, and he's a huge influence on myself. Now when it comes to his musical tastes, like I said, he leans a little bit more alternative, and he does like to talk about pop music, but you can see he's truly passionate about that more niche stuff. And being an American, he's obviously quite far away from what's happening here in Australia, but with the internet these days, it's not that hard to come across Australian music. Now obviously, Fantano doesn't hear every Australian musician out there, but he comes across quite a lot of it, and these are the artists that I've noticed he likes to talk about and has given positive reviews to in the past. I've got a list of 10 here, and they're in no particular order, they're just ones that I've noticed he likes. The first one I'll point out is an obvious one, and it may well be his favourite Australian band to at least talk about, and that is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Now why does he like this band so much? Well, I think part of it is because they just put out so many albums and they give him so much content to talk about. He was pretty bullish on their last couple of more metal sounding albums, and he loved Nonagon Infinity, which I personally did too, and I could see why. The second one I'll point out is an artist he's been really pushing hard lately, and that's Genesis Owusu. Now he reviewed Genesis Owusu's first album, Smiling With No Teeth, a couple of years ago, and was pretty positive about it, and he also interviewed Genesis too. But last year when Genesis brought out this album Struggler, he was super positive about it and put it really high up in his end of year rankings, and he said that Genesis was probably one of the best things coming out of Australia at the moment. And you know what, I have to agree with that. The way he blends genres together and comes up with creative ideas is excellent. An artist from Australia that he talks about quite a lot in a positive way that doesn't get a lot of attention here in Australia is Alex Cameron. Now Alex Cameron is kind of like a niche art pop, art rock musician who is also known to work with other artists in the industry and help them write songs. Like for example, he's written with The Killers. But Fantano often reviews his albums and was super positive in particular about his album Miami Memory. Another artist similar to this category of Australian musician that's big in the underground and Fantano likes them but doesn't really get as much attention in his home country is Kieran Jay Kalinin. Now Fantano loved the album Bravado of his, and I think I can kind of see why. It's got that kind of like artsy niche that he loves, but also Kieran plays into this kind of like provocateur, memer, sort of like antagonist personality that Fantano is kind of like himself, so I could see why he really likes him. Okay, another two that I'm going to bunch together here that he really likes are the Drones and Tropical F Storm. So the Drones are a band that have been around for a while now. They are kind of like a retired outfit, I guess you would say, because it's moved on to be this new project called Tropical F Storm, so we'll merge them together. But many of the members are in both of those bands. Fantano has given positive reviews to some of the more recent Drone albums, and I feel like I've heard him say that he likes some of the older stuff a lot too. Tropical F Storm have been putting out albums lately, and he's been pretty positive and bullish about most of them. I think he really likes Gareth Lilliard's art style and musicianship, and he really kind of fits into that kind of like artsy rock, garage rock stuff that Fantano likes. Speaking of garage rock, Fantano has recently shown interest in the Chats, which is really cool. Now, a lot of Australians would know this band because of their viral hit Smoko, but they've put out a couple of albums now and they've been pretty good, and they've been doing pretty well in the underground outside of Australia too. Fantano really liked their last album. Fantano's a pretty big hip-hop fan too, and he really loved TK Meidzer's last EP. He's reviewed a bit of her stuff, and he seems to be pretty positive about the music she's been putting out for a while now. Now, a really obvious one that is big in the underground all over the world, and Fantano is definitely across what they're doing, is Tame Impala. He's been a little critical of Kevin Parker's more recent stuff, but his review of Tame's second album, Lonerism, was, I believe, one of the big reasons why it was so well received and got so much attention. He gave it a very positive review. He also liked Currents, but probably not as much as Lonerism. And one kind of like classic artist that I've often heard Fantano talk about that's Australian, and he's done a couple of reviews of his stuff that's come out recently that I think he's been really positive about, is Nick Cave. So Nick Cave has obviously been around since like the 90s and has put out a lot of music in different projects, you know, that being solo or with some other artists, or his Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds band. But pretty much everything that he puts out now, Fantano will talk about and has been pretty positive with his reviews and impressions of. So that's my list of Australian artists and musicians that Fantano, I believe, likes the best. Do you know any others that he's spoken of or likes? Do you think there are some that he should like and he should get into more? But hey, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'll talk about more Australian music in the future. Thanks, bye.